So, good afternoon, and let me recognize our colleague, our partners, agencies, all the heads of the various departments, member of the media. And firstly, I want to say that today is a soft launch of this strategy. And we have decided to do this soft launch because the team has worked beyond the call of duty and they have completed the strategy. And we will launch it in a more bigger manner, but in a community where farmers, stakeholders, and beneficiaries will be present. So you could consider this here this afternoon as a soft launch, a launch that we are introducing a strategy. And this is the first time. I'm very happy to state that this is the first time that the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority have now a published strategy. And at that launch, which will be very shortly, we will make this strategy public. The media will have a copy of it. And as you heard from my good friend here just now, Dr. Arjun, he will also go more in depth about the various aspects of this strategy. So today's launch is just a small presentation that we are doing, but also it's an important milestone in Guyana's journey towards building, as you heard the person who spoke before me talk about a more resilient, more productive, and more prosperous nation. Today, Guyana is taking the spotlight, not only in oil and gas, but in agriculture. Agriculture has been one of the mainstay of Guyana's economy, and it will remain the mainstay of our economy. And when you look at our national budget, almost or over 75% is being expended in the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority's expenditure. Why? Because we want to build a resilient, we want to build a modern, state-of-the-art drainage and irrigation system in our country. So this occasion this afternoon is significant in many ways. As I said, since the beginning of time, we haven't had a published strategy in our country. And as we all know, Guyana is experiencing one of the most remarkable period of transformation in its history. Across every region, we are witnessing an unprecedented level of investment, expanded economic activities, growing communities, and increasing demand on our infrastructure and natural resources. And as you heard, that this strategy, they came up with this strategy with a lot of consultation. We have consultation that was done with a number of authorities: Sea Defense, housing, local government, farmers organization, the MMA, the RDCs, NDCs, and a number of water users association, and a number of stakeholders who will be beneficiary of this strategy. And we deliberately extended the consultation to these groups because these groups will be the beneficiary. They have the experience. They will be using the strategy and the infrastructure to upgrade the system that we have in our country. As you know also, at the same time, climate change continues to present serious challenges. Extreme rainfall events. Many of us know that we are in the midst of the rainy season. Almost on a daily basis, I normally call Dr. Cummins a number of times to find out the outlook of the weather. And with extreme rainfall events, prolonged dry period, rising sea level, and changing weather patterns, This reminds us of the traditional approaches are no longer sufficient for us. Gone are the days when we have 2 and 3 inches of rainfall in a month. Today we have 5 and 6 inches of rainfall in an hour. And we have to prepare our drainage system. And when you go through this strategy, and you see what we have here, you will see the comprehensive system that we will implement in the near future. That is why today the Ministry of Agriculture, NDIA through the Ministry of Agriculture, have embarked on a number of mega projects that will modernize our infrastructure, the NI system. We must also think ahead. Whilst we know what is happening now, 20 years ago, we never knew what will happen today in this country. Many of us who were young persons during that time never thought that we'll have this extreme weather pattern that we are experiencing today. Today, climate change is real, and we are living in an area where we are most vulnerable around the world. We must plan strategically of what is happening now, and we must invest wisely. That is what this government has been doing. And this is what precisely why the National Drainage and Irrigation Strategy 2030 has been developed. That's the reason why we have developed this strategy. We heard the chairperson mention it in one of her remarks, that water is central to national development. Water could be, and all of us depend on water. Without water, we can't function, we can't have crops, we can't have our agriculture system growing, we can't have proper system in place. But at the same time, it could be destructive. And this strategy will help us to balance what is good and what is bad. Without effective drainage systems, communities become vulnerable to flooding and economic losses. We have seen communities across our country, vulnerable communities, are experiencing what climate change really is. Without proper irrigation systems, agricultural productivity is threatened too. Food production is compromised, and livelihood are placed at risk. So these are important factors that have caused us to work on a strategy. Because Guyana today, as I said, Guyana has taken its rightful place in the region and on the world. And we have to have proper strategy to ensure that we plan and execute those plans in a successful manner. So drainage and irrigation are not merely for agricultural issue only. They are national development issues. You heard Lionel just spoke about the mapping up of Georgetown, the drainage system in Georgetown. We have 16 pumps that are operable in Georgetown. We have a number of sluices and canals that are operable, but those are not sufficient enough, because when we have heavy rainfall, the town is underwater in some areas. Now, today, after discussing, the NDIA now is mapping up the entire country's drainage system that we'll have so that we can plan ahead. And that will be also add on as an addendum to this strategy. This strategy will be part of the situation room that we will be launching later on this month, early next month. This will help us to plan our activity, to know where we have capacity, where we can advise farmers to go and start farming. For example, we have hundreds of pumps and sluices across this country. When we finish the data, inputting the data that we are doing now into this strategy, and this is inputted in our situation room in the data center that we'll be launching shortly, we can go to that and inform farmers that the capacity in this area, the drainage capacities areas in this area is so much, so that that farmer can plan their activity, or his or her activity in that area. That will be the advancedness of this strategy that we are about to launch here this afternoon. And over the last 5 years, under the leadership of His Excellency President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali and our government, significant investment, as I said, has been made to modernize and strengthen our drainage and irrigation system. Across our country, we have rehabilitated and constructed drainage channels and irrigation canals. We have upgraded and expanded pump stations. We have rehabilitated and constructed sluices and cokers across our country. As I'm speaking now, 93 sluices. 92 sluices are earmarked for rehabilitation or build new sluices across this country. We are in the process of building in 3 regions, regions 3, 5, and 6, high-level canals that will drain on a 24-hour basis. We have already procured more than 63 pumps that will be placed in various parts of the country. Those are the investment that we are talking about. We have invested also in additional machinery and equipment to improve maintenance and our emergency response capability. Through the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, substantial efforts have been made to improve operational efficiency and enhance service delivery to farmers and communities. So these investments that we have made over time, as I said, these investments are not only for agriculture purposes, but also for drainage system across the country. We are seeing more and more housing schemes are coming into being. We have to cater for those housing schemes. Our drainage system now is increasing, and the NDIA has to respond to those improvements that we are having in our country. With development comes more responsibility. And as we cater to improve productivity, increase agricultural output, at the same time, we are catering also to have effective drainage system in place, so that the modernization that is taking place in our country, the roads that are being built, the hospitals that are being built, the schools that are being built, and other infrastructure, we can have proper drainage system. And the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority has to have a plan. And because of those responsibilities, we have developed this strategy. The first time in the history of our country, we have a strategy. I want to commend the team. As I said, these investments that we have made over time, we have already seen tangible results. But as we said, we recognize that infrastructure alone is not enough. We have to continue. We need long-term vision. We can build all the infrastructure now, but we have to have a vision to expand those infrastructure as the countries develop in the future. We need coordinated approach. That is why we have now interagencies are working together. The National Drainage and Irrigation, Ministry of Agriculture, local government, Ministry of Public Works. We are working Ministry of Housing. We are working very closely to ensure that we develop a coordinated strategy too for the country's development. We need a strategy that integrates engineering, science, technology, environmental sustainability, institutional strengthening, and community participation. And this, as I said, this strategy, you go in here, you'll find all those that I just spoke about. And the National Drainage and Irrigation Strategy 2030 provides that vision that I talk about. It establishes a framework to modernize our drainage system, improve flood protection, increase water availability for agriculture, and strengthen our resilience to climate change. This strategy also recognizes the importance of innovation and technology, data-driven planning, improved monitoring system, digital tools, and smarter water management practices. All these must become integral component of how we manage our resources in the year ahead. Importantly, this strategy seeks to ensure that investments are prioritized based on evidence and long-term availability. As Guyana pursues its ambition of becoming a major agricultural producer and key contributor to regional food security, efficient management becomes more critical. Our country has assumed a leading role in supporting CARICOM's effort to reduce the region's food import bill and expand food production. Achieving these goals requires reliable drainage and irrigation system that can support increased cultivation, greater productivity, and sustainable growth. Water security is therefore inseparable from food security. And food security, as I said, go hand in hand in that, inseparable from national security. So the National Drainage and Irrigation Strategy 2030 also places great emphasis on climate resilience. Climate change is not a future threat. It's now not a future threat, it is a present reality. We know that. Long ago, that was a threat for us. Now it's become a reality, climate change. We are now experiencing. Recent years have demonstrated the devastating impact that floods and drought can have on our community and agricultural production. Our response must therefore be proactive rather than reactive. This strategy is about preparing for tomorrow, not merely responding to today. Preparing ourselves for the future. It's about building a system that are stronger, smarter, and capable of withstanding the uncertainty of changing climate. However, the success of this strategy cannot rest on the government and NDIA, the Ministry of Agriculture alone. It has to be an effort where everyone works together. Effective water management require a whole, everyone's has to be involved. It demands collaboration amongst ministry, agencies, local democratic organ, the private sector, development partners, and all technical persons, researchers, engineers, and more importantly, the farmers and communities who depend on the system every day. And if you all know, most people in the press would have know that I have alluded to the fact that many times people are tampering with our system, causing massive destruction within our system. So I hope that we have already started to implement part of this strategy in various parts of the country. So today, this soft launch therefore represents the beginning of a broader process of engagement and consultation. As I said, we'll have a massive launch in one of the regions where a lot of farmers and stakeholders will be present so that we can launch it and go through the strategy so they could buy into it. You can't have a strategy and go and launch it where people don't know about what is the strategy about and how we should implement the strategy. So I just decided, I spoke to the chairman and said that we should have a massive launch with the main beneficiary. And I'm hoping that that can happen within another 2 weeks' time, where we can go, we can have the entire strategy being presented in a simple form to this person. And as I said, in the coming period, we'll continue to engage stakeholders across the country. We'll listen to the experiences and recommendations of farmers and water users. We'll strengthen partnership and ensure that the implementation of the strategy reflects the reality on the ground. They already did that in coming to this part of the strategy. We have had a number of consultations. As I said, the formal lunch among our farmers and agricultural stakeholders will provide another opportunity to deepen these discussions and reinforce our shared commitment to safeguarding Guyana's future. Drainage and irrigation has always played a vital role in Guyana's development. From the earliest days of our country's history, our people have relied on hard work and effective water management to cultivate the land and build communities. That legacy continues today. And as I said, we are launching this strategy here this afternoon at the soft launch. I hope at the bigger event we can have that kind of input also from the stakeholder, because we'll have a period where we can have ideas also being raised. As I said, today we begin that journey. Together we'll build a drainage and irrigation system that meets the demands of modern Guyana and supports the aspiration of generation yet unborn. So I thank you. May God continue to bless our beautiful country, Guyana. And I will now officially launch this soft, as I said, this soft launch here this afternoon. And we'll do that massive event in the next 2 weeks in some parts of the country. Thank you very much.